Hello and welcome back. In this lecture I want to give you another challenge. It's related to functions, but this challenge is going to be more about divide and conquer. It's going to be more about organizing your program around modules. It's going to be more about problem solving. What I want you to do is I want you to write a tic-tac-toe game. This is going to help you just become a better problem solver, and it's going to help you organize your program around functions. You're also going to utilize an array. You're going to have to figure out how to format certain data. But it's going to be a simulation of a tic-tac-toe game. We're not going to write a computer. It's going to be player 1 versus player 2. So I want you to write a program that plays tic-tac-toe. Hopefully everybody is familiar with this program, or this game I should say. It's just a game that's played on a 3x3 grid with 2 players. You take turns, X's and O's. Hopefully that rings a bell. I didn't want to have to go and explain this game, but hopefully you're familiar with tic-tac-toe. I'm going to provide a little demonstration of how it works and how I would expect the output to play out. But it's a basic tic-tac-toe game. What I want to do is you're going to probably need to create an array to represent the actual board, the 3x3 grid. I think you can get away with just creating a single dimension array. You could actually create a 2D array as well to represent the rows and the columns. 2D would probably be more intuitive, but it might be easier. It might be a bit harder to visualize in your code. But either way works. The good thing about programming is there's many solutions to a problem. I'm going to show you one of my solutions and my design approach, but feel free to change the design. As long as you're using the C constructs correctly, that's all I care about. I want you to learn how to use C. As long as your program is modularized and it's organized and it's easy to maintain and there's quality code, that's what I'm worried about. So one way to implement, only one way, is representing the board as a single dimensional array with 10 elements. The reason I have 10 elements here is I don't want you to use 0. These 10 elements are going to represent the board, but they're also going to represent the coordinates on the board. So I'm going to demo this and show you how I'm thinking it working, but the way that you're going to actually pick the box that you want to draw in is going to be based on the element number. In addition to creating an array for the board, you have to try to think of how you're going to break this problem down, how you're going to organize it. I'm thinking at the very minimum that you're going to need at least 3 functions, probably more. But you need to at least have one function that checks for winners. This will basically just see if a person has won the game. Or it may also even check for a draw. You should have a function that draws the board, because you're going to be drawing the board after every player's turn. And you're going to reuse this. Another function for marking the board, this happens when the user actually wants to put X or an O in a certain box. You need a function to set that box as an X or an O. What will happen is you'll probably be populating the array with that X or O. And that way you can look at the array to see if you won or lost. So you can, and in the mark board, it would also allow you to check for an invalid selection. So if valid selections were 1 through 9 and the user entered 10, you would say, hey, you can't do that, try again. The game should be user-friendly, should be intuitive to use as far as a user perspective, and it should be organized as far as a programming perspective. Really think about this one. Get some planning out, do some planning, get some paper out, start writing some design out, how you're going to attack this problem and what functions you're going to need to use. The way that I'm thinking of this is going to run, let me show you a little demo. I'm not going to show you any source code, but this is what I envision the game will look like when we run it. Maybe a little title that says, hey, the game. And then also a little information about the player. Player 1 is going to be X, player 2 is going to be O. And remember, this does not have to be playing the computer. You can just put in each turn. So you'd have to play this game if a friend was sitting next to you and they would have to tell you where to put the number. If you're getting really ambitious, you can write the game to play against a computer. But you'll notice that the 3x3 grid has numbers in it initially. You can use these numbers to enter. So if player 1 wants to take their turn and they represent X, depending on what number they enter, that's where the X is going to be placed. So we print the grid, we display the board, and then we also tell the user whose turn it is. And we tell them to enter a number. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and enter number 2 and hit return. And what will happen after I hit 2 and return, it's going to actually see if somebody won. It's going to clear the screen and it's going to redraw the board. So after I hit 2 and entered, you'll notice that I still have the title, I still have player 1 and player 2, but now in box 2 I have an X. So what else I should have done there is I should have checked before I displayed the board whether or not we had a winner or a draw. And obviously that's the first entry, so we have neither. Since we don't have a winner or a draw, I'm now going to ask player to enter a number. And then they can pick any number here. Now if I entered an invalid number, like 10, it should tell me it's invalid. And it should allow me to maybe make another move. If I were to enter 2, 2 should also be invalid. So if I enter 2, it also says invalid because 2 is already taken by X. So the program is allowing me to try again. You could just get rid of their turn, but that's not really fair. So now I'm just going to say, where do I want to place the O? I'm going to say 5. I'm going to put an invalid move. It's going to redraw the board, and there's an O and 5. And now it says player 1. And you keep doing this until you have a winner or a draw. I'm just going to say 9. Now I have an X there. Valid entries are 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to say 3. And let's actually try to get X to win. So now X is going to go into 8. And I'll put O and 6 just to show you that the game works with a winner. And then I put 7 for X. The game should now be over. I hit return. It says player 1 wins, and it even played a little sound for me. I did a little fancy stuff there. So the game is over. Player 1 win. And it should also happen if player 2 wins or if there's a draw. So think about how you want to attack this problem. Nice little program. I'll go through a solution and provide the source code in the next lecture. Thank you.